I bet you didn't know the terrifying threads lurking on 4chan, the internet, a sprawling labyrinth of information, connection, and terror. We venture into its darkest corners, seeking answers, seeking thrills, seeking the unknown. But sometimes the unknown seeks us. Tonight we delve into the abyss of 4chan, a place where fear reigns and nightmares are born. The most horrific threads, each more chilling than the last, pulled from the depths of human darkness. Are you ready to confront the horrors that await? Because once you descend into these stories, there's no turning back. I will never look at dares the same way after learning this. It all started with a dare, a reckless challenge issued on a cold November night. My friends and I, young and foolish, dared each other to spend the night in Cranbrook Mental Hospital. Cranbrook, a name whispered in hushed tones by locals, a place where sanity went to die. We laughed off the stories, dismissing them as mere folklore, but deep down, a shiver of apprehension ran down my spine. As we pulled up to the rusted gates, the headlights illuminating the crumbling facade, the weight of the dare began to settle in. This wasn't a game anymore, this was real, and something felt terribly, terribly wrong. Are you brave enough to explore the unknown? The air inside Cranbrook was thick with the stench of decay, and the silence was deafening. Every footstep echoed through the long, desolate corridors, amplifying the growing sense of dread. As we ventured deeper into the asylum, we started noticing things. Shadows seemed to move in the corners of our eyes, whispers seemed to emanate from the empty rooms, our laughter died down, replaced by a nervous tension. Then we heard it, a blood-curdling scream, echoing from the depths of the asylum. Our blood ran cold. We froze, our hearts pounding in our chests, listening intently for any sign of life, or worse, something not quite alive. If you don't like horror but still do thrill-seeking, then this story is for you. We followed the sound of the scream, our fear propelling us forward, deeper into the heart of the asylum. The air grew colder, and a feeling of being watched washed over us. Suddenly, a figure darted across the end of the hallway, a fleeting glimpse of something gaunt and pale. We exchanged terrified glances, our courage waning with each passing second. We pressed on, each step filled with a growing sense of dread. The scream had led us to a padded room, the door slightly ajar. We cautiously approached, our hearts pounding in our ears. I think I messed up. I found the antique mirror at a flea market tucked away in a dusty corner. Its ornate frame was beautiful, but there was something about its reflection, something cold and empty that drew me in. Against my better judgment, I bought it, bringing it home to hang in my bedroom. I told myself it was the history, the stories the mirror could tell that fascinated me, but deep down, I knew it was something more, something unsettling. The first night with the mirror was the worst. I woke up in a cold sweat, a feeling of being watched hanging heavy in the air. And then, I saw it. A flicker of movement in the mirror's reflection. I think I messed up. At first I dismissed it as a trick of the light, my sleep-addled mind playing tricks on me. But as the nights went on, the occurrences became more frequent, more intense. Faces would appear in the mirror's depths, their eyes hollow and accusing. Whispers would emanate from its surface, chilling me to the bone. I tried to ignore it, to pretend it wasn't happening, but the fear was slowly consuming me. One night I woke up to find myself staring into the mirror, my reflection replaced by a horrifying visage. Its eyes filled with malice, locked onto mine. And I felt a cold dread grip my heart, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more terrifying stories. Why are there not more people talking about the unsettling gifts that arrive without warning? A few years back, I received a peculiar package in the mail. No return address, no sender's name, just my name and address scrawled on the front in shaky handwriting. Inside, nestled amongst packing peanuts, was a porcelain doll. It wasn't the kind of thing I collected, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out who would have sent it. The doll itself was unsettling. Its porcelain skin was cracked in places, its once vibrant dress now faded and dusty. But the most unnerving feature was its eyes. They were a piercing blue, almost too lifelike, and seemed to follow my every move. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, attributing it to the doll's overall creepiness. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of my nightmare. That night, I woke with a start. A cold shiver ran down my spine as I felt a presence in the room. My eyes darted to the corner where I had left the doll, and my blood ran cold. It was no longer in the same position I had left it in. I could have sworn it was now facing me, its lifeless eyes boring into my soul. Desperate for answers, I delved back into the depths of the 4chan thread. I scoured every post, every comment, searching for any information that could shed light on the doll's origins and its sinister nature. That's when I stumbled upon a chilling detail I had overlooked before. The original poster of the thread mentioned that the doll was said to be cursed, a conduit for something dark and malevolent. It was believed to feed off negative energy, growing stronger with every unsettling event it caused. And the only way to break the curse was to destroy the doll. I knew what I had to do. This doll, this vessel of fear, had tormented me for long enough. I grabbed the doll, its cold, smooth surface sending shivers down my spine. It felt heavier than it should, as if it was resisting my grasp. I had to get rid of it no matter what. We drove in silence for a while. The only sound, the hum of the engine and the rhythmic thud of the windshield wipers battling the relentless fog. I tried to make small talk, to break the tension that had settled over the car, but the woman only offered short, clipped responses. She kept her head down, her gaze fixed on her lap as if lost in thought. I snuck a glance at her reflection in the rearview mirror, and that's when I noticed something strange. Her reflection was distorted, almost translucent, as if she were fading in and out of existence. I quickly turned my head, but she was still there, sitting in the passenger seat. I shook my head, attributing it to fatigue and the tricks the fog was playing on my eyes. But the unease I felt continued to grow with each passing mile. We approached the turnoff for the town she had mentioned, a small, sleepy town I had passed through countless times before. I slowed the car, expecting her to direct me to her final destination, but when I looked over at the passenger seat, my blood ran cold. The seat was empty. So, picture this, viewers. I inherited this old, creaky Victorian house from a distant relative. Yeah, you know the kind, those with more cobwebs than furniture and a history that whispers in the shadows. It was like stepping into a time capsule, except this one was wound tight with an unsettling feeling that something was watching me. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of dust and decay. Each footstep echoed through the silent halls, amplifying the sense of unease that clung to me like a shroud. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just the age of the house playing tricks on my mind, but deep down, a primal instinct whispered a warning. The first few nights were the worst. The silence was broken only by the creaking of the house settling and the occasional thump from the attic above. Each sound sent shivers down my spine, my imagination conjuring images of unseen horrors lurking in the darkness. Sleep offered no escape, haunted by vivid nightmares of shadowy figures and disembodied whispers. One day, while exploring the musty attic, I stumbled upon a dusty old journal hidden beneath a pile of discarded furniture. Its leather cover was cracked and faded, the pages yellowed with age. Curiosity got the better of me, and I couldn't resist the urge to unlock its secrets. Little did I know, I was about to unearth a terrifying truth that would forever change my perception of the house and the shadows that danced within its walls. Armed with the knowledge from the journal, I knew I couldn't ignore the shadow any longer. I had to confront it, to face the darkness that haunted this house. I gathered my courage, armed myself with a flashlight, and climbed the creaking stairs to the attic once more. The air was thick with anticipation, every fiber of my being screaming at me to turn back. But I pressed on, my flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears, a frantic rhythm that echoed through the silent attic. And then I saw it, a flicker of movement in the far corner of the attic, a shifting shadow that seemed to coalesce and take on a life of its own. It was as if the darkness itself was alive, swirling and writhing like a living nightmare. The shadow turned towards me, its formlessness somehow more terrifying than any defined feature. Fear threatened to overwhelm me, but I stood my ground, my finger trembling on the flashlight's switch. This was it, the moment of truth. Would I succumb to the darkness that had consumed so many before me, or would I find a way to banish it from this house forever? The first sign that something was wrong was the whispers. Faint at first, barely audible murmurs that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. They spoke of unspeakable horrors, of pain and suffering, and a deep, abiding hatred for anything living. Then came the cold spots. Pockets of icy air that would send shivers down your spine even on the hottest day. It was like stepping into a freezer, except the cold didn't just nip at your skin, it seemed to seep into your bones, chilling you to your very core. Objects would move on their own. Furniture would creak and groan as if an unseen presence was shifting its weight upon it. Doors would slam shut with a deafening bang, even though there was no wind, no draft, nothing that could explain the sudden movement. But the most terrifying thing of all were the eyes. I would catch fleeting glimpses of them watching me from the shadows, cold, calculating eyes that seemed to burn with an unholy light. They were never there for long, just a flicker of movement, a fleeting glimpse, but it was enough to send shivers down my spine and make me question my own sanity. So there you have it, viewers, the most terrifying tales from the darkest corners of the internet. Each one a chilling reminder that some things are best left undisturbed, some mysteries are better left unsolved. But the question remains, are these just stories, or is there something more lurking beneath the surface, something sinister waiting to be unleashed? The answer, my friends, is out there, but be warned, once you start digging, once you delve into the unknown, you may not like what you find. And as always, viewers, if you enjoyed this descent into the depths of digital dread, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more nightmares, and don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated. Until next time, sleep tight if you can.